From Warrnambool to Casterton, from Portland to Hamilton. Jeremy Lee on ABC Southwest Victoria.
We've heard some news this morning that legendary Australian jockey and racehorse trainer Pat Hyland has passed away, and I understand he was a Port Fairy local, inducted into the Australian Racing Hall of Fame a few years ago, and one of only 8 jockeys to have won what's known as a Grand Slam, the Melbourne Cup, the Caulfield Cup, the Cox Plate and the Golden Slipper. Ballarat local Phil Torpey got in touch with us this morning to let us know about this, and is joining you as well, just to, I guess, remember Pat Hyland this morning. Phil, welcome to you.
Yes, thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Morning.
Now, I understand you actually have some family ties to Pat Hyland. So, but Pat sort of actually trained some of your relatives' horses, I understand?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't actually have horses good enough for Pat to train, but Pat rode many winners for my uncle. My uncle trained for 50 years in Bendigo, and Pat was quite successful on some of his horses when they went to Melbourne.
Right, I see. So what made him such a great jockey?
Dedication, family history of racing. He also teamed up with a wonderful mentor down in Warrnambool, Jim Maloney. To start with, Pat was born in Port Fairy in 1941, and he went to school at St Patrick's Primary School in Port Fairy.
Okay.
I'm sure your listeners all know that school.
Yeah.
And so at the time he was 15, he became an apprentice jockey to Jim Maloney, who was a well-known trainer for many years. And then when Pat was 17, he moved to Melbourne and rode in his first race was at Flemington.
I see.
Which is not many jockeys get to do, to ride in their very first race at Flemington.
Yeah, right. So he obviously had showed a lot of promise pretty early on.
He didn't win that race, but about 6 weeks later he won his very first race at Ballarat.
Right. Okay.
In 5 years, Pat had won Victoria Derby on Craftsman in 1963, and then his career just burgeoned from then. He featured in lots of great races, especially at Flemington in 1964, when he won the Newmarket Handicap and the Australian Cup. And 65 and 66, he went on to ride Craftsman to win the Australian Cup. Then, one of the high points of Pat's career was in 1968-69, when he teamed up with a champion sprinting horse called Vane. Vane had 14 races and won 12 of them with Pat in the saddle.
Right, wow. I'm guessing he was probably a huge inspiration, was he then, for a lot of local jockeys and trainers?
He's been the mentor. The Laffertys are well known in Warrnambool, and I believe that some of the influence from Maloney and Hyland rubbed off on them.
Right. And as I mentioned, only one of 8 jockeys to have won that Grand Slam, which is obviously a very sort of difficult thing to pull off then, winning those 4 races.
It certainly is, and the prize money wasn't anywhere near as big as what it is today if you win those races.
Yeah. So he passed away on Monday. What sort of a loss is this going to mean for the racing community, do you think?
Just that he was a trainer and he rode the horses up until he was 74, which was just some 10 years ago.
Wow.
Part of history in racing. Racing has a great history in that we just lost Makybe Diva at the weekend, and Makybe Diva touched people outside of racing. Well, Patrick Hyland was well known to people outside of racing and much loved in the Warrnambool area.
Yeah, indeed. Look, Phil, thank you for letting us know about this morning and for having a quick chat about him and some of your memories of him. And look, I'm sure there'll be sort of further tributes to him as well over the coming days.
And just one last thing, Jeremy. He was successful in the Warrnambool Cup twice on Warrior Symbol and Safraz, and he also won 2 Ballarat Cups on Warrior Symbol.
Right, okay. So a name that, just a lot of people locally are going to be very familiar with.